Alright, here we are. Had a little trouble getting the camera set up again. My new phone does not play well with things, but today we are doing a little bit of needle felting. So you're just gonna hang with me while I make a ball. The first thing I'm gonna do is just rub it a little to get it started. And then we've got our coarse needle. Not the coarsest needle. If you want to really felt fast, there are bigger or three-pronged or whatever, but this is the coarsest one I have. So we're just going to stabbing time. And this is a foam pad, so I can stab into it if I have to. I'm sure I'll stab my fingers at some point. That is the inevitable part of needle felting. And I'm making Lumi from the Cats Are Liquid game, who's mostly a ball, which is nice because that's a pretty easy shape to start needle felting. And join me in the stabbing. We're going to be here a while. Stabbity stabbity. I might see if I can speed this up when you get to watch it at the end, because otherwise it's going to be very boring for a while. And let's see, I am not an expert at this at all. This is my second ever needle felting project. So if you want to learn, probably find somebody else. You know, you can hang with me and do some stabbing. And yeah. Oh, there, I've stabbed me. All right. This project is now properly christened, although I'm not bleeding. Oh wait, there's a drop. Okay. We have appeased the crafting gods, so now we can continue. And in fact, I'm just gonna fast forward here, or skip ahead here. So, come back to me when I have stabbed this ball approximately 5 billion times and the surface is nice and smooth. And yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so it's starting to come together a little. You can see the surface is smoothed out some. It's still a little wonky, and it's a little lumpy, more puffy in some places. So the next step is, once it's kind of ball shaped, is to stab anywhere where it sticks out more. And you see, the more I'm stabbing it, that's just bringing in a little stripe there. But then we bring in this, and we bring in that, and we just keep doing this. I've done more on this end. That's why it's kind of egg-shaped. It's bigger on that end. So we'll do more on this end now, and it'll come down and become more spherical. That's all you do with needle felting. You just stab it forever. So much stabbing. Stabbity, stabbity, stabbity. Which is why they make the multi-needled tools. Because that does go a little faster. But, you know, whatever. I'm just here. I was listening to music. I actually started to record this section with something very copyrighted on in the background and went, whoop! Start over again. But I'm just listening to music and stabbity stabbing. It's also nice to do with a podcast on. Not really good for watching media where you have to watch, though, because please to be looking at your fingers, or there will be lots of blood for the craft gods. So, I'm going to keep stabbing this now for a million times to bring it into the shape I want. And then after that, we're going to add the ears and the tail. And we're going to do a finer needle to do a surface finish that gets it a little smoother all over, a little more tight, finally. Oh, and there goes my cookie clicker.
Hi!
Oh, and we have a guest.
Goober here for second.
Yep, this is going to be the goobers when it's done, because the goober loves Lumi, and cats are liquid.
Yeah.
So.
Now Aiden is Neophoting a Lumi, which is a character from Cats Are Liquid, and I love her so much.
Yes, Lumi is a great character. She is very cute.
We don't actually have a blue wool here for the face, but Stephanie says that she's gonna take the wool and dye it herself. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye. Oh, gotta love that I get called by both names by the child. But yes, that will be the final step once I've got the rest of it done to my satisfaction. We will just use a Copic marker, any alcohol marker, any permanent marker will do to dye very small amounts of wool. So I'm going to use a marker to turn a tiny scrap of wool blue, and then we'll do little facial features because Lumi has light blue and I do not have any light blue wool. Anyways, you can see how much more this has come together just while you've been watching this section. But again, there are approximately 1 million more stabs, so you guys get to skip ahead. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back. You can see this is very nice and round. So actually, the next thing I want to do, Lumi isn't perfectly spherical. She's a little bit loaf-shaped, a little fat bit. And I could have shaped that entirely by how I stabbed the ball. But, you know, I find that when I've tried shaping things via just stabbing it more or less, that the different texture annoys me because it gets denser in the places where you stab it more. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to be adding, just by felting on top, I'm just going to be adding a little loop-de bit that will make it slightly loaf-shaped and flatter on the bottom, because I'll leave this, you can see my vision here, right? So I'm just pulling off little bits from my initial Watto wool, and I'm just going to wrap those around and felt them on. Stabbity, stabbity, stabbity. You see, it's very easy to add things. Just a couple stabs, and they already start to adhere. And then you just keep going till you've worked it down to the same. See, that's already stuck on all right. I mean, you can pull it off at that stage too, which is a nice way to test how things look. Stab it on a little bit, pull it back off. I'll be doing that when I get the tail and ears on. But anyways, we're just gonna stab on a little extra around the base until I'm satisfied with the shape. And then at that point, I will make the tail and ears, and we will attach them in the same way. And yeah, so you can get the idea here, I'm sure. So I will let you skip ahead again, and I'll meet you when my ball is Lumi shaped in a moment. All right, I'm almost done making a perfect little mochi. I'm going to show you, like, you can see this part here is a little more bulgy. It's a little softer sticking out. I'm just going to show you finishing, perfecting the mochi. So you just stab. It's just stabbing, but it's like you got to turn it, you rotate it, you look at it, what's not quite symmetrical, what's not quite smooth. So this part's just a curve, that part's just making it just more egg-shaped. Don't want that. So you just stab it down. Stab, 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 stab. Don't forget to, like, stretch out periodically. I'm trying to move somewhat from the shoulder, not just from the wrist, because if you just stab from the wrist, it's not actually as easy, and it will give you carpal tunnel. And is that round? Almost. How are we looking? How are we looking? How's our mochi? It's not perfect, but it is a really good little mochi. And of course, I'm going to do just a smidge of surface finishing as the final step. So we can perfect it up then. So there's our mochi. Now I've got to unwrap a little more. I used up my whole first little coil on the first guy, so we'll unwrap and pull out some more of this. Just want to pull some little bits. We're going to make a tail. So, and of course you need way more bulk than you want the eventual tail to have, since it all compresses down. But that's ish. Let me just start by kind of finger mushing it. So how long? Maybe just a smidge more. A little smidge more. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it kind of club shaped, and we're going to leave some of this. We're going to leave some of this fluffy, because that's where we'll felt it on. Right now we're going to just roll and mush, and then we're going to start stabbing. And here's where the backing board comes in handy. I didn't need it as much when I was doing the, whoop, and I got my fingers. When I was doing the sphere, because I could just stab into itself. But for this tail, having a surface to stab into is useful. This is just a sheet of that craft foam, the extra thick stuff, foamies, whatever. So we're just kind of rolling and stabbing and rolling and stabbing. For right now, I'm just trying to get a really rough shape to come together a bit. Like I say, I'm not an expert at this. This is literally my second needle felted. Oop, there's stabbing me again. Ow, that one hurt. This is my second needle felted creature ever. So, do I know what I'm doing? Only sorta. It's alright. We're just gonna roll and stab and roll and stab and roll and stab, and once again you are gonna get bored out of your minds. So I will try to stop stabbing myself. Goodness, I will let you skip ahead again. And so I'll join you in just a moment when this tail is more tail-shaped. Yeah, I think we're probably about halfway through the tail. I've got the end pretty good. I decided to see if I can include a little wire in it just to help it pose slightly, because eventually, you know, Lumi has that little hook at the end. I may try to shape that some too, but figured the wire couldn't hurt. It's just a very small gauge galvanized steel wire. I put that into plushes all the time. And so we're just rolling and stabbing and rolling and stabbing and rolling and stabbing. Yay! The stabbing goes on forever and ever and ever. It takes so long. Oh, if I keep doing this, I probably am going to get one of those little triple needle stabbers just to speed up this part of the process a little bit. I have some patience. I don't mind repetitive tasks, or I would never have even considered this as a hobby. But, and this is going to stay a hobby. I monetize a lot of the things I do. I enjoy making money. It's always nice. So, you know, I will write for money. I will sew for money. I will pour silicone for money. But some things can stay hobbies, and honestly, the amount of time it takes with this stabbing, I've seen people who do needle felting and you know, sell it as at least semi-professional. They charge a lot, which is totally reasonable, but like these would be more expensive than my conventional plushes because they just take so much longer, like considerably more. And there's things you can do with this that you can't really do with sewing, so you know, that's legit. But it's not worth it to me to try to make a living out of this. Anyways, join me again when the tail is finished. Bye-bye. Alright, the tail is basically made, so I'll be attaching that by stabbing the wire in and then felting the loose end down. But first I'm doing some ears. I already started this one. I just made a little vaguely triangular blob. I was going to do the ears separate like the tail, but honestly the tail was a pain to do that way. So what I'm going to do instead is just make them kind of as part of this. So we're gonna Make another little blob and just start stabbing one end onto the ball. And then we'll poke and shape the sticky uppy end until it looks like an ear. So there, it's attached. I started the other ear and then I was like, frick, I'm supposed to be filming. Which is why that one's slightly more done. So we'll just work on this for a bit. My cookie clicker game goes squeak. If you're wondering what the squeak is, it's a good one to have on while you're stabbing. You can just take a break for a second to click a cookie. Alright, they're looking kind of ear-ish. Well, let's put the tail where it goes. So the other end of the tail, the wire is looped to latch into the wool, but on this end I just left it pointy to stab it on. And then we can just felt down that to attach it. We'll felt it down more to smooth it. Yep, and it's just coming along. So now really, we just felt down in shape and felt down in shape and felt down in shape until it's all, well, scoot that down just a little, until it's all how I want it. So you got tail, you got ears, and then we put the face on the front. And we're gonna have a little cat. So again, you get to skip ahead while I stab 1,000,000 times. And so I'll see you in a minute. All right, so cat's pretty done. It's time to make some blue. And for such a tiny bit, when I didn't have blue, I'm just going to use Copic. Any permanent marker, alcohol ink will work. So while I do that, Goober's going to tell you some things.
Alright, so Mom's gonna be quiet now, so I'm gonna talk about. So, first, a question. Do you play Cats Are Liquid? Yes or no? Please answer in comments. Anyways, if you don't play Cats Are Liquid, Lumi is the main character. You play as a Lumi in the game. As you can see here, he's a white cat with a blue face. The face is currently being worked on. Lumi has friends. These are red, green, blue, and purple. People have made he'd fan-made cats such as Orange. You can make Orange cat in the level pack editor or by shaping a lava to look similar to the shape of a cat. Ignore that squeak there. That's just the cookies. Anyways, and then turn off grid mode and add to spikes. That's how you make the fan-made orange cat in editor. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say, so just enjoy this no commentary section.
Can I say something?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think that's good enough. And hopefully I can say, the goober has opinions about things. Hopefully I can say that the blue being done, it has a slightly less soft texture than wool that's been dyed with actual dye, but it is still, it still should felt just fine. So, time to felt on the face. So, a little bit of blue, and I'm gonna make this into a ball. Roll, 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 roll. Yeah, that might actually be slightly too much. I may have made more blue than I need, but it's better to have too much than not enough. So let's see. Lumi's eyes are oval. Now, I'm trying to get this so that it's a little smoother even before I felt it. Because I don't want it to be lumpy. I don't have to worry about it being lumpy. That looks about right. All right. Get a few stabs to fix it on there. And other side. Trying to not stab my finger. Alright, we're going to do it more in a minute, but I want to get the other eye on first. Okay, and roll that up into a little oval. Oh, yeah. Roll, 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 roll. I used a lot of rolling on the tail. I actually ended up finding that for starting up the tail, rolling it like that helped a lot more than just the twist and stab. So, okay, that one's also slightly too big. Pull off. Oh, that's starting to felt up some just from the rolling. You can tell. All right, roll, 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 little ovals. Oop, I gotta stay in frame. Okay, is that about the same size? Yes, it's too untidy though. Get this rolled up neatly. Yeah. Can you tell I'm not an expert at this? I'm sure you can tell. Anyway, I think that will go on now, so we'll stab the edge in a little bit. Psst. Oh, what is this?
Question. Do you like needle felting? Yes or no?
Me? I like it, yes.
Please answer in comments.
Oh, well, let's see what everybody else has to say. That was a visit from the Goober Cube, which is my previous needle felting project. If you follow me on... Where have I posted it? I've posted it on gallery sites, DeviantArt, Ink Bunny for Affinity. I'm not sure if I posted that one on Blue Sky. I posted it on Twitter when I made it, but that was a long time ago, and I don't use Twitter anymore. Anyway, well, they're a little untidy, but I think they'll do. Alright, now we're just gonna stab the frick out of the middle. Stab, 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 to get that really attached there. Same over here. Stab, 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 stab. And then I'm gonna just tidy it down. I might even touch it up just a tiny bit with the marker when it's finished, just to even up that blue a little. I tried to get an even blue. You really should use wool that's already the color you want, but waiting, the kiddo wanted me to do this today, so waiting till I could get out to the fiber store was not really an option. Alright, one pretty good looking eye. This one's still a mess though, so let's felt that one in some more. Squeak. Yes. Alright. Okay, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get the eyes to behave. Because, of course, when you're working with the same color, it's just about getting the shapes to smooth down. But when you have a contrasting color, I can't just smooth it onto the whole thing. I have to smooth it into the spot I want it. But that is actually going pretty well. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's looking good. And they're good and attached too. Yeah. And just because this one's, they're really uneven, I'm going to touch up the color just a tad. Touch, touch, touch. Alright, now let's put a mouth on. Same blue. Just get a little bit. And I think this time I'm just going to sort of double it over. That leads an uneven tail end. So actually what we'll do is we'll pull it in half. And then we'll double it over in opposite directions. Aren't I clever? Not really, but then we roll it. Roll it, roll it, roll it. And of course you can do stuff like this that's wet felting to make fabric, and you spin and roll to spin yarn. But spin yarn actually has ply, actually has twist that stays in it, and we're just going back and forth. So now I'm going to pinch this in the middle, and let's see, because it's going to be a little cat smile. Yeah, that's still too long, but I can trim the ends. Let's just start in the middle, and we'll trim the ends. So in the middle, felt that on right there. Will it attach? I have no idea. Sort of, yeah. All right, and then we need a smile like that. Oop, I gotta stay in frame. Oh, yeah, that's, well, whatever. Something just come across the camera view? What was that? Okay. Oh, it just bounced off my hand. Small and red and giggly. Whatever could that be?
Hi!
Yes. It's a Lizzie OC.
I'm back.
It's a goober.
Little
cube.
goober.
Goober cube. Alright, now I'm going to trim that off because Lumi doesn't need a mustache. And felt down that end a little bit. That seems an okay smile, or half a smile. I gotta get the other half going now, so. Felt down a little here. I keep getting too close to the camera. Sorry about that. It's hard to concentrate on what my camera is seeing and what I'm doing at the same time. I'm also not a video expert. You may have noticed. My fans will know that my video skills suck, but I have fun. Alright, let's felt that down and try to trim it off evenly. Oop, don't. Yeah. Alright, we're getting there. We are so close to done here. And yeah. Alrighty, just kind of pinch that in so it doesn't get away from me. Stabbity, stabbity, stabbity. Oh boy, we are near the end here. Now we just do lots of stabbity, stabbity to smooth down this little smile. Little kitty smile. It looks just like the ASCII art with the sideways 3. Lumi is very ASCII friendly design. Go ahead. I have a goober in here with me. She is silly. And stealing Scooby snacks. Literally, it's a little pack of Scooby-Doo snacks that, if you're hearing package rustling, that is what that is. Alright, this is going on nicely. Now, I'm getting the hang of this. You were watching me do the learning curve thing here, or at least some of it. You did not watch me spend an embarrassingly long time figuring out how to get that tail starting to felt. Cylinders. Cylinders, you gotta roll them between your hands. Just stabbing is effective for balls, but it's not very good for small cylinders. Turns out. Ah. Oh, so close. So close. Oh no. There's one thing about needle felting, like at what point do you call it done? You don't want it to get hard as a rock. So one of these ears is actually pretty hard because it turned out to be slightly larger than the other. So I felted it down. And one of them's still pointier than the other. Felt that down a little. Anyway. So it got very hard. But most of this is quite squishy. Squish, 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 which is what you want. You want the parts in the middle to be quite squishy, and the outside just to be felted enough to be smooth-ish, to not be full of flyaways. I'm not a perfectionist. I do have a vague urge to try to finish the surface even more, to like give it the little soap treatment that you do when making felt fabric. But I have a feeling that might not go to plan on a creature, so I don't want to mess it up, so we're not going to do that, but I get the urge. Anyway, let's see. We are just a few more stabs. Little. Okay.
And we're done.
Yep.
We now
It's
have
a Lumi.
Lumi to go with our needle felted block.
Uh-huh.
The
Ain't
tails
that
are
fun?
also posable.
Yep, tail wire works. Yay! All right, thank you guys for joining us. Hope you had fun. I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.